Good
Good
evening,
evening,
everyone. How y'all
everyone.
doing
How
this
y'all doing
evening?
this evening?
Y'all might hear a
Y'all
little
might hear a
echo.
little
Forgive
echo.
us
Forgive us
for the
for
sound
the
and
sound
display,
and
but
display, but
we're
we're
excited this
excited this
evening.
evening.
We
We
have
have
Mr.
Mr.
Kevin
Kevin
Kelly
Kelly
here.
here.
We're gonna
We're
have
gonna
a
have a
good
good
conversation
conversation
talking
talking
about the
about the
father's
Father's
coach.
coach.
Everybody
Everybody
needs some
needs some
mentor.
mentor.
Everybody
Everybody
needs some
needs some
guidance.
guidance.
And
And
guess
guess
what?
what?
You have to find the right people that's gonna do the right thing. For
Um,
it. So, without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and let Mr. Kelly give you a brief introduction about what he does, who he is, and a little background.
How you doing there, brother Johnny?
I'm good. I'm
I'm
good.
good.
I'm
I'm
good.
good. I'm good.
Thank you for this. Thank you for this opportunity to share with your audience. I don't take it lightly at all to actually, be interviewed. Number one, and number two, actually just being able to share my heart, share whatever, insight, anything about the Father's Coach, about Life by Design coaching firm, or anything. So I don't take it lightly. So that's why I really appreciate you. So to
Thank-
answer your question, who is Kevin Kelly, right? Who is Kevin Kelly? Kevin Kelly, I am been married almost 28 years, almost 28 years to my love, my beautiful wife, Angel Kelly, and I'm a father, of course, I'm a father, and I'm also a business owner. The name of my company is Life by Design Coaching Firm. And Life by Design coaching firm, actually, that's what it is. It's a coaching firm. I am a life coach. So, what is a life coach? There's millions of life coaches in the world. There's millions of life coaches. What makes me different? What makes Kevin Kelly different? What makes Kevin Kelly different as a life coach is that I was able to narrow my objective for the last, I don't know, I want to say 7 to 8 years to fathering, and thus becoming the father's coach. Now, out of being um, the father's coach, I had to have an initiative or a narrative. So why is there a need for the father's coach? Well, for me, well, I believe that God gave me this mandate, and this mandate that He's given me is to reform the image of fatherhood in our culture. To reform the image of fatherhood in our culture. So I know that sounds kind of ambiguous and it sounds, nebulous. Like it's like, how do you measure that? So how do I measure that is there's so many objectives, there's so many ideas, and the media has really pushed out there's no fathers in the home, and nobody's taking care of the children, and we know there's a segment of society that does that, and we know there are statistics that back that up, but there's also statistics that say that men are in the home taking care of their children. And even if the men are not in the home, they could be outside the home, but they're also taking care of their children. So we kind of forgetting that statistic. So I kind of share those statistics. And one, I know I'm probably going a little fast, but I just wanted to share. I'm so passionate about
Hey, you
this.
do good.
You good?
Okay, good. So I have a goal. I have a goal. There's a goal, so it's not too nebulous and not too far out wide, But I want to impact 1 million men. So if I'm going to reform the image of fatherhood in our culture, it's not just Delaware, it's not just Kent County, not just Sussex County, and not just it's men, it's men. So how will I do that? How am I doing that? I'm doing it by books. One of my books that I've written is Sonship, Fathering, and the Journey of Becoming. Sonship, Fathering, and the Journey of Becoming. That's one book. So people read the book, right? You read the book, and the Father's Coach podcast, Father's Coach podcast. So the podcast, people who watch our podcast, the Father's Coach podcast on YouTube, subscribe and all that. It's behind me, subscribe. But the Father's Coach podcast, the books, speaking engagement, and also the thing that's really close to my heart right now is actually going into schools and doing some mentoring training, some leadership training, which I have contracts with a couple of school districts, and that's what we're doing. So we're trying to impact 1 million men, young men, middle-aged men, and also the elderly men. And so that's in a nutshell, Kevin L. Kelly, the Father's Coach. The Father's Coach. That's who I am. That's what we do. And we do this every day.
And
And
tell us, how did you get it?
did you get it?
Mm, what started this for you? What made it a dream?
What started this was I always had a passion of empowering men. My father, who's still in my life today. I was just up in North Jersey this weekend and went up to Manhattan with my daughter. But my father still impacts me today. So his fathering his nurturing, his fathering, his nurturing, and also my uncles. They come from this, the old men that you respect, that took care of their families, and so I am very passionate about that. And also, when I moved down to Delaware, I'm originally from North Jersey. So when I moved down to Delaware, I quickly just had the passion just to empower men. Power men that weren't doing too well, some men that were on drugs, some men or whatever. I did what I had to do to impact men. Also, I joined this organization, uh, Prison Ministries of Delaware. So Prison Ministries of Delaware, I joined them in 2008 and stayed with them to 2016 and ended up becoming the executive director, not the owner, the executive director of the organization. And we actually empowered and impacted men in the correction facility, even down the street here in Smyrna. I was down there every other Monday night impacting men. I just had a passion for impacting, empowering men, even men that weren't even going to come out. Men that weren't even coming out. I was going in there, giving them soft skills. Yeah, I could have went in there, did Bible studies and stuff like that, but that wasn't my niche. I do Bible studies elsewhere. But for them, I was giving them the skills that they needed. So when they come home, like the reentry programs, when they come home, they had a safe place and a direction. And so thus, that's where the Father's Coach really started. Helping men get back on track. And then I realized, wait a minute, it's kind of hard to repair men. It's kind of hard to repair men, right? So let's get them while they're younger. Let's get the men while they're younger. Thus, my wife and I, we have this program, leadership program, mentoring program that we go into the schools and we start with the third graders, third, fourth, and fifth graders. And most of the kids that come into our program, they have some challenges. They have some challenges and they're trying to break through some barriers, and I'm there to assist and help them. Yeah, I could go there with my curriculum and go, okay, here's chapter 1, no chapter 1, chapter 2. Sometimes we have to bypass that curriculum and go ahead and what are you dealing with? How can I help you? Can I be a big brother? Can I be one of your uncles? Can I help you? Can I help shift your trajectory? Can I actually assist you in giving you a vision for your life at a young age? Because the contrary, some of our counterparts, they have a vision. They've been handed a vision. Some been given, silver spoons. So that's how the Father's Coach actually really started. It started back when I first moved down to Delaware and I saw the need, and I just actually, I just by default, I wanted to help. And I end up helping people in the church, outside the church, in the community. And I partnered with so many different organizations. Like the organization that you and I actually are partnered with, the Father's House, with Brother Roger. But I'm also partnering with Afri Female Institute down here in Dover. I partner with them on 2 Saturdays out of the week, a mentoring program. So that's what I do. I'm going to reach that million, but not by Kevin Kelly alone. Also with you, and I see there's a guy named here, Charles Breckley, him too. Everybody that's commented here, we're building a coalition and partnerships that we can actually impact the community. And there's another organization that I've partnered with and we collaborating called Delaware Fatherhood and Family Coalition. And that what they want to do is they want to promote safe and stable families. So if we do this, we are doing this, but they coming aboard. I can't be in 3 places at one time. So, but I know you, Brother Johnnie. I know you. I know the things that you're doing, creative financing, the mortgages and everything. And you reached out to me after we met. I mean, it's so powerful, the connections that we have. We're also sharing our Rolodex so that we can impact the community. And it's not about the bottom line. It's not about our money and stuff like that, because those kids and the fathers that we impacted, they can't pay my coaching fees. I get my money. I got multiple streams of income. So I have other things coming in, but we want to impact people that can't pay us. They can't pay us back. God will take care of us and he'll give us some other things, but we're collaborating together along with the Father's House, the Father's Coach, me, I'm the Father's Coach, you and your organization, and also Afri Female and Male Institute. So we actually, wheels on the ground. So I want to share this one thing too. A lot of times, some people on my team, they get on me sometimes. They say, I don't do enough selfies. I don't do enough lives. I got to do more lives, do more selfies live. But the reason why I don't do enough of that, because I'm doing the work. I'm doing the work and I'm reaching out. I'm meeting people up and down the state. even in Maryland too. There's some people in Maryland that's interested in what we're doing in the schools. So we're doing a lot of work, and sometimes it's hard to break away from the grind, from the trenches, to pull up a phone and hey, look what I'm doing. No, 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 no. We want to impact these kids. I don't want to take no pictures right now. Let's do the work.
So tell me,
So tell me,
what is the
what is the
biggest challenge
biggest?
for these kids right now? What's causing all these problems from, we grew up with men in our household or solid older men that gave us this guidance. What is right now you think that they're missing in these younger generation right now?
I believe the young men are missing structure. And I know structure and just everyday a male presence in their life that will provide that. Men provide that. We provide structure, right? So I believe that they are missing a lot of them that I'm coming in contact with through experience and also through data is that they lack in structure. A man in the home. How about this? When I'm going to the school, I'm going to a school tomorrow morning, and the school that I'm going to tomorrow, the guys that engaging with, those guys, a lot of them don't have fathers. So then when I come and I give them a little structure, like, it's time to sit down. It's time to sit down. It's time to, we're going to have 15 minutes of instruction, and the other, 15 or 20 minutes, we're going to play some games. It's hard for them to sit down and have structure because they don't have structure at home. They don't have structure at home. And then I think that reforming the image of fatherhood starts with reforming the image of man. Because before you're a father, you're a man, right? You should be a man, right? Should be a man first before you become a father. And they're missing, I think the biggest challenge is that they lack structure. So that we bring them structure. We bring them things like in the curriculum that we have, and that God really blessed us to do it ourselves. It's homegrown. It's some of the 5 F's that I've kind of got from a rabbi, faith, family, friends, fitness, and finance, which is your thing too. Your thing is finances, right? So, but those 5 key elements that we kind of talk about, faith. I'm not there preaching to them. Do you have faith in yourself? Family. Who's family? Who's your friends? Who's really your friends? Who's not going to do something, throw a rocket, and then turn their head and point at you? Who's your friends? Who's so faith, family, friends, fitness. I got these guys doing push-ups. I got these guys, just give me 5 push-ups. Come on. As soon as you get in here, 5 push-ups, and then sign your name on the sheet. 5 push-ups, show your name on the sheet. And then finances. And then what I just last week, what I did for finances is they know about money and whatever, but I just want them to think outside the box as dollars. Let's think about currency, just currency. Don't just think about dollars and $20 bill. What if you go to another country? You're going to need to understand currency and investing, which is your thing too, of investing. So I told these guys, Bree, I know I'm going 100 miles an hour, but I love this. And I'm very passionate about it. But I just shared with these guys, even on finance, these young boys, 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders. And I read the third people, the 3rd grade, I mean them all separately. Third graders for 45 minutes, and 4th graders 45 minutes, 5th graders, 45 minutes. And I just shared with them, listen, man, go to a dollar store. If you got $5 in your pocket, go to the dollar store and get you a case of water. On a hot day, get a case of water. How much money can you make with that case of water? I don't. They're looking up. They're looking in the sky. I don't know. I said, if you charge $1 per bottle, you just made $24. You just made $24, and to subtract the $5 that it cost you, whatever, to get the case, and you made yourself money. You just became an investor. And I just use it as building blocks, just to teach these guys to think outside the box at a young age. We got to get them young so they won't be in Smyrna prison.
Do you think that the young men struggle because the fathers either are absent from the home or they're incarcerated or they just seen bad values? I mean, sometimes we can have men around, but they just see bad values in that man and they cannot have a change of mind of how to do the right thing.
With that, I think a lot of them, they do have bad images of fathers. Fathers actually, the fathers that walk away or the men in their lives have walked away from or disappointed them at a young age. And so now here we come. Here we come to them, we kind of look like the guys that disappointed them. That's why when we collaborate and we go in these schools, we collaborate and we go in these communities, we like, listen, guys, if you don't have the bandwidth, if you don't have the time, don't even start. Don't even start, because these guys have already had disappointments. If you all in and can you just give me a Saturday a month, we can get with these kids, give it to me. But you got to be all in. And we train them to be mentors. You ain't just going there off the hip. We got structure. Even with the mentoring, we giving these guys structure. We giving our mentors structure so that the mentors can go and give the mentees structure. Give them a foundation. We teach them about self-government, even in a nutshell. And self-government, if you don't govern someone, somebody else will govern you. If you don't govern your time, somebody else will govern your time. And we teach them time management skills at a young age. They're like, oh my, what are you giving me this? We just planting seeds. We just giving you some structure. Some of those things. And I think that is a great question that you're asking me. Thank you for that. Yeah, I think the audience really needs to hear this, because sometimes if your kids are grown or whatever, you're kind of disconnected. But then you got Kevin Kelly, the father's coach here, reminding you, oh, we still got some work to do in our community.
we still got to fight there. We still got things we have to do, and man, we applaud you for stepping out there, Mr. Kelly, and getting this thing done. But it's so many times that we see that we don't have enough African American teachers. We don't have enough solid men like yourself that's going around to that to those schools, and we need to train some of these other men. And with this program, how can we train them? What can we do to be able to reach them so they can say, hey, we want to come and go through Mr. Kelly's training program?
You can reach me at K Kelly, that's KKELLEY, at lifebydesignCF.com. Also, you can go to YouTube. You go to YouTube and click on the Father's Coach, and you can reach me there. Also, Instagram, my handle is Life by Design Coaching Firm, and you'll see all the Father's Coaches information and content, but also reach out to me. I'm telling you, there's some things blossoming right now, not just on my side, but also on our side, Brother Johnny. We have the Father's House that we're collaborating with men throughout the whole state. I'm talking about the whole state. We're coming together and we're brainstorming, and we just need some more men. We need some more men that have the time, the availability. If you could give us, I'm telling you, one Saturday out of the month, that'd be great. One Saturday out of the month, and we'll work out the schedules. We work out the schedules that it work for everyone. We can go ahead and start impacting these kids. Give them some structure. Give them some things. Like I said before, that I was giving them guys, the mentors, the people who wanted to go into the schools. I was giving them kind of structure. Like, listen, if you were part of Toastmasters and you're speaking or whatever, why don't you, when you mentor these guys, why don't you give them some of your skills? Share with them some of the things. I'm pretty sure that some of those guys will end up being Toastmasters as well. You doing finances and your finances and mortgages and on the investment side, when you're mentoring, some of that passion should come on to them. I'm talking about, and if you don't have the time to go into the community like we do, we have the discretionary time, and also some people are not freed up during the week because of full-time jobs or whatever. But do your niece and nephews and your grandchildren. I mean, do that. I want to read some statistics with you, share with your audience too. And I always carry this with me. I keep this with me because they keep me reminded, but also want people to understand, the impact that men not in the home are having. Men with absent fathers are more likely to become absent fathers themselves. If you keep seeing this thing, you will become what you see. You'll become, even though you hate it, you'll become what you see. Here's another statistics. 1 out of 4 children live in a home without a dad. But here's something a little more positive. New fathers to be involved in caring for their child in the first days of a child's life can have a positive long-term effects. That's just being in the house, being in a home, washing dishes, I mean, it's just something here. But here's something a little more positive too. And I love this one here. A recent survey conducted by Carlson and colleagues found that according to both men and women, men are doing more childcare and housework during the pandemic than they did before. So after the pandemic, men have been in the lives of their children even more. So even though we can go to the worst statistics, oh my God, this guy's in jail, the son and the daughter may end up a casualty in society, whatever. But on the other hand, there's some men that's maybe outside of the home because they couldn't get along with the mother or whatever, but they still are changing diapers. They still are going to the games with the kids. They're still, hanging out there. They're still being a positive image. So that's my job as the father's coach, is to reform the image of fatherhood in our culture. So how am I doing this again? I'm in the schools doing this. I'm writing books about it. I'm doing, speaking engagements about it, and I'm collaborating with people like you and Roger Turner and Fontaine Vision and Afri Female and Afri Male Institute, and Delaware Fatherhood and Family Coalition, and I'm doing all these things, trying not to overwhelm myself, but I'm partnerships with these guys that's actually doing the work and making it happen.
And if you can give us the name of your book, we're going to put it here in the chat so they can see what it is, and we can have it passed out for them so people can go out there and purchase the book so you can do some reading. You can understand where Mr. Kelly came from. I was talking to a man this Monday about financial education in the church, and he was he was letting me know, he's like, a lot of folks look at these Christian authors about Tom Ramsey and all those guys. And he said, they tell you to cut up your credit cards and stuff like that. And he said, the question is, once you cut them up, what do you do? he said, and now we're talking about some coaching time that he have, and I learned something from what he said about that yesterday. He said, but Warren Buffett, he don't tell you to cut up your credit cards. He tell you how to have some discipline with your credit cards so you can grow that business. You can keep growing your entrepreneurship and be wealthy with that. You don't have to be broke. With these young men we have out here, it's so important, as you came with them statistics, that in prisons, single fathers not really doing nothing. My next question is going to be, out of all these people that we need to reach, do we do stuff in the prison where it might seem so important for the ones coming out, or are we just working with young kids with this program?
In prison, so even in my bio, I wanted to take it out of my bio, and when I go to these organizations or whatever, but I keep it in there and let them know that that's work being done. But in the prisons, we do partner with reentry programs. Reentry programs. That's when they come out, so there won't be there'll be no recidivism, right? So we go in and we go help them. We go give them what they need, and we also let them know, when you come out, come hang out with Mr. Bozeman, hang out with you, hang out with me, and tell me what you need. Of course, you're gonna know they're gonna try to run some game, probably, most likely, whatever. But if you understand, that comes with the territory. Just don't get taken advantage of. But give them a pattern. Give them structure. They're already institutionalized. These men are already institutionalized, but you have to give them. You have to continue on with that structure, and by default, that institutionalism will break away from them. But you have to give them structure. They need what everybody else needs: shelter, home, water. And there's agencies out there that we partner with, that we do the direction. We direct them right to that place. That's why Delaware Fatherhood and Family Coalition, they're good with that, because they have a lot of resources in the community for these men. So we can't do it ourselves without bank, without bank statements and everything. But the state do have resources, and so that's what the collaboration comes in. The collaboration, because we are a state, so we do help people out that way. And I wish I had the 800 number, but I don't have it in front of me.
And that something else we might want to talk about it. We invested in the father's coach. We know this takes money. We know it takes time. I mean, we might have some folks that want to say, hey, Mr. Kelly, can I donate some money to help this grow? Where do we go, or where can we sit down and talk about an investment time that we can invest in this program? So it's just not based on one school, that we can do more than one school.
Yes, we can't do more than one school. And if there's something, if like donations with this is a great question. Donations, I would like to sit down with people and sit down with my attorney and lawyer and make sure all the papers are drafted correctly, so that I got to follow the money and make sure everything has integrity and good character. But if you want to share, we don't want to just throw out some cash apps and stuff like that. Not for this type of work. We would actually come together. You reach out to us, We'll sit down over a cup of coffee, over a meal, fellowship type of deal, and then we'll bring in the parties. We'll bring in the attorneys. We also bring in the accountants to make sure to set this up right, so that we could get the money. Because we don't have a nonprofit. I have a for-profit. Life by Design coaching firm is a for-profit, and the Father's Coach is a subsidiary. It's just a facet of that. It's just a facet of the company, and of course, a subset of that is the podcast. So when we come together, that's where the money comes at. Like we was talking with the Father's House, we come together. So I hope I answered your question, but that's where we are with that. I want to make sure we get the right people in the room where there's money involved.
And that's so important, to make sure that we get the right people in there. I'm glad you said that, because sometimes we get these type of situations, and we start, like you said, cash apping, and people want to know how where's my funds going, what it's going to, how are we utilizing that for the kids. But I had another question that they said, when he states state prison, does he go to the detention centers? And they want to know, do you deal with those type of folks as well for that? And also talk a little bit about your podcast that you have and your mentoring that you have.
Okay. So what was the first question? Sorry. The first question was, I haven't done a detention center in, I want to say, over 7 or 8 years, because I've been so busy in the schools that I had to narrow my focus and to narrow my objective to just focus on them. But we didn't have the bandwidth, can't be everywhere at the same time. So the answer is not right now. Not right now. But I do have some people that do go in there. I do know some people. I have some friends that go there. I hope I answered your guest questions.
And tell us about your podcast, The Father's Coach, that you host.
So the Father's Coach podcast. I mean, I love it. Every 2 weeks we do like tonight we do the podcast, and we have guests. We have guests that speak on many topics. I want to say, just use the 5 F's: faith, family, friends, fitness, and finances. So we get guests that cover these type of subjects that to share with the audience. And again, the mandate and the initiative is to reform the image of fatherhood in our culture. So it's not a bashing session. We're not bashing people making mistakes. What we do is, it's an empowering session. It's an empowering session, and we try not to go over an hour. Try not to go over 45 minutes to an hour, because we don't want to lose people's attention. But the thing is, what we want to do is impact people, we want to encourage people, but we also want to provide resources. And we also do have some sponsors. We are accepting sponsorships for the podcast that will pay for itself and all that kind of stuff. We do product placement. So if you want your product, display in the background type of thing while we're doing the podcast, we do that as well. But it's about empowering. I'm telling you, it's at some point, and I'm gonna be a little vulnerable with your audience here too. There was times that we was doing a podcast, you get a little discouraged. You like, I don't think I'm making any inroads. I don't know how much traction is out there, until this one lady I was at this back to school event in Newcastle, Delaware, and this lady came up to me. She said, "You're the father guy, right? You're the father guy." And I said, "Yes, I am. I am." She was like, I said, "Do I know you?" She said, "No, no, you don't know me." She said, Me and my sister, we stopped watching TV months ago. We stopped watching, and we just stumbled upon your podcast. And so we watch you every time. And my sister's in Brooklyn, New York, and we don't watch no TV, but we watch you. I was almost in tears because at that point I was about to make a decision. I may want to stop the podcast. I don't think anything is happening. But when that lady came to me, I'd never seen this lady a day in my life. But when she told me that she watches me, I'm like, you know what? We're gonna do this content and we're gonna take it to the next level. We're gonna go ahead. I'm just like, oh, let's do this. We doing this thing, and that was very, very encouraging. So, with all those people that are watching, I just had a conversation with one of my partners earlier today. I was like, we just gotta get the people to subscribe and let us know, comment, let us know that you're watching. Let us know, some of the things that some of the guests we need to bring on. There's a guest. I went to the barbershop today down here in Dover, and and my barber said, I got a referral for you. Now he never came to me with a referral before, but he told me about this referral, and this guy owns his first. He's the first African American man that did CrossFit in Delaware, that owned a CrossFit in Delaware, and so he introduced me to the guy. I had a conversation with him. He's going to be the fitness guy that we interview. I mean, it just dropped in my lap. I'm getting a haircut. This guy said, "Oh, I got an idea. Maybe there's a guy that I know. He's really good people." Da 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 da. So I've been talking to this guy since this afternoon. We're going to schedule him in, and he's going to be the fitness guy. Faith, family, friends, finance, and fitness.
So we're going to ask you for some contact information. We're going to put so we can come across the screen so the folks can see it, because this even gets posted on YouTube, and people can even go back and see this podcast again and say, hey, I want to put in for that. I want to be able to go into join this father's coach and join this team, because we want to see people do better out here. We want to see that we grow. We want to reach that million person caliber that you're talking about, because we had that million man march years ago, and that was a great thing on at the White House. But we want to make sure that we put this out here for this audience. They understand that, hey, we're out here in this community. We trying to change lives. We have to get to this next generation so we can explain to them, hey, is somebody out here that really cares. They love you. They want to show that they want to make your life different. But this is a big question here. We know we have a lot of single moms probably that have these young men and stuff, and sometimes they might feel like it's a waste of time. But I mean, how do you encourage our females when you start dealing with their children and say, hey, this is what my goal is?
Very, very carefully. Because I'm telling you, some of these moms, they're very, very protected over their children, and rightfully so, because of, some of the things that they all had to go through as a family, being a single mom, whether it's finances and babysitting, and there's a lot of things. So there was something I had to deal with recently with a young man. When you're communicating, sometimes you have to communicate in a way and make sure that they understand you. So he didn't understand me. So I told this young man, I said, listen, I said, talking about rough housing and that, I said, have your uncles, have your father, anybody, punch you in your chest or whatever, and just go hard to the body. That's what we called it when we was growing up, going hard to the body. And he was like, well, no, what are you talking about? He got really offended. And I was like, no, what I mean was, when you're playing around horseplay, is that some things that you do there? So I had to understand there could be some language barriers, So I had to make sure that when I'm communicating things, I'm communicating to him and through him, and not using just my vernacular, or some things that we did growing up. I had to make sure that I had to communicate with him. So you had to make sure that you communicate with the mom and let her know, this is what I'm teaching your son. I'm teaching your son on the 5 F's. And the five and what we're dealing with today was finances. So we're talking about money, cheddar, moolah ya, currency, whatever. And I had these guys come up with all these money languages, money words, but I wanted to focus on them was just call it currency. It doesn't matter, just currency, how you exchange. Just understand that you exchange. You can exchange clothes, and give them the history. That was time that people didn't have money. They exchanged salt. And what is salt good for? It's a preservative. So people didn't have freezers and refrigerators. How they preserve their food? Using salt. So I let them know that salt was a currency, and using money as a currency, those type of things, to let these guys know, you need to understand about money, just not just about you getting paid, but there's some things that you could do. Like I used the water scenario. And I just use that as an example. You can go to the store, get a bottle of water, get a case of water for $3-4 or whatever type of thing, a General Dollar, whatever those small stores, you can get that, and then you can make money. You become an investor. Then I shared with them, you could be a landlord, or you can flip houses type of thing. But I'm using these as building blocks to expand their minds. But I'm telling the moms that. So I'm educating the mom and letting her know what I'm telling her son. And that's just one. That's just one. I'm talking about leadership. The 5 L's of leadership: lead, learn, listen, love, and there's a loyalty there type of thing. There's loyalty with the 5 F's, the faith, all that kind of stuff. I'm giving them principles and seeds that they can learn and grow. And the funny thing is, I was in school in Dover 3 years ago, and I was sharing with the students these principles that I'm sharing with you tonight. I was sharing with the students there, and one of the counselors in the staff came to me afterwards, and she was like, it was a lady. She was like, "Mr. Kelly, I didn't know anything you was talking about. You taught me today. You taught me." And I'm like, oh my God, that's great that these kids are getting this language. They're learning this type of language now. So, and I think when people learn, when these young kids start to learn, and you're teaching them, you're giving them principles that they haven't heard before, it starts to change their language. And so that's what we're all about, reforming the image of fatherhood in our culture. So we're the image, you're the image. And the young men that's typing here, we're the image. So we have to be careful of the image that we're portraying in public, in the community, in our jobs, in our homes, in our churches. You got me all fired up there, man.
Hey, that's good to be fired up. But something that's probably hard to explain to these young men is I have another question here. To reach as many young men as you can do you have bilingual volunteers, or do we have people that speak other languages too?
I wish, but not yet. It's funny. Someone asked me that about my book. Whew, about maybe 8 or 9 years ago. They said I should get it translated into another language. But that's a great question. Thank you. That's a good takeaway, because I'm going to revisit that. Thank you. I don't have it now, but I will. Thank you for that challenge. I'll be able to impact more people. We'll be able to impact more people that way. Thank you for that question.
And it's important that we have that, we start reaching all, because we see so much happening in our country today. Even some of our Hispanic brothers and sisters, they're not always present in the household because of work and stuff like that, and they got their own situations. We're going through a thing where we go through deportation now, and some of these kids will be stuck over here. So I think that's an awesome challenge that we need to have here, and it works out perfect. But I want to make sure that we reaching every young man out here, because Mr. Kelly, you probably can expand on this. Some of them are stereotyped. And I'm gonna let you speak on that stereotype.
Yes, they're stereotyped big time. And I try to stay away from, and I'm gonna be very carefully, so we all can understand what I'm saying. I try to stay away from any negative stereotypes that we have, fried chicken and watermelon type of thing. Or also because these guys already know, they already have low self-esteem. At 11 or 12 years old, these cats already got a low self-esteem. So you're trying to build them up, and you don't want to keep throwing the weight of society on them, because you want to give them hope every day. Like, I'm being charged up right now for tomorrow so I can give these guys hope, right? And so I have to make sure the language and let them know. I don't want to tell them right now that you got to work double hard in order to be accepted even in school with some of your teachers. I just tell them, listen, one day, I think it was one Friday, as for an example, one guy walked in and he was just walking in the class and he was walking on like this. I said, you know what? That's cool, and that may have be cute in the community, but it's not cute in school, because staff, they're going to look at you. They're not going to take you seriously, and especially if the young African American men is tall, they're big, they're our size type of thing. They are pretty much a threat physically a threat in the school. So if you're walking around and you have anger issues type of thing, they're not going to take you seriously. So I'm telling them right now, listen, in the United States, and I told these guys this, I said, listen, in the United States of America, by fourth grade, if the students are not reading at a certain level or don't understand math or comprehend at a certain level, they're already building facilities, prisons for you. By fourth grade. If you're not reading at a certain level, if you're not in math, arithmetic, if you're not comprehending, if you can't stay still in class. There's one guy I wasn't in the school. I got a phone call. Mr. Kelly, one of your students, he won't come out the closet. I said, give me the phone. Put him on the phone. I said, get out the closet, man. Why are you in the closet? Is anybody bothering you? No, I'm mad, I'm upset. Okay, you'll be upset. Anybody touch you? Anybody do this? No. Okay, so I'm gonna need you to get out that closet, because right now everybody's looking at you. You're disturbing not only that class but other classes down there. You don't want to be labeled. And so once I said that, he got out of the class, he got himself together. That next day, I went up to the school and I shared with him, just him and I one-on-one, and I explained to him, now if you keep doing this, you're not going to be in the regular class. So you like to be in a regular class, okay? Because if they're not going to put you in a regular class if you keep acting this way. And so I'll just let them know, okay, by fourth grade, you need to understand math. You may not understand math, but learn it. I tell these guys, you may not understand reading, you may not like science, you may not like math, but understand it and learn it. Pass the test, understand it, comprehend that, so that you can move on to the next level. And let you know, by fourth grade, if they're not reading, they failing all these tests. I'm not talking about their curriculum tests. I'm talking about statewide tests. They are building facilities in these states for them. They're making room for them. And we know in the scripture it says your gift will make room for them. So we want to give them gifts. We want to sharpen them so they can go, so that God can make room for them in their, in their destiny and their purpose and, and careers and jobs, not prison system, So I hope I answered your question. And we got to let these guys know that. And also we got to let the parents know that too. Because we understand that. When we do the research, we understand what the United States is doing with these kids.
And Mr. Kelly, do you think that some of these young people, they don't fear prison? They at a point in their life, they're like, I don't care what happens, and you have to re-guide them to have an understanding. And I mean, how does that work out here?
It works out pretty good. I always end up reiterating to those guys. I said, you know what? The coolest guys, and we know this, and we have insight, and because of our age, and because we just see things, and we see the trends, we see generations of people come through, but the coolest guys, they don't do too well in life. They're the ones asking you for 50 cents when you go back to the neighborhood, when you go back home where you grew up at, whatever. Those were the coolest guys. Those are the ones that wasn't skipping school and stuff like that. So you don't want to be that guy. You don't want to be that guy that your mother and father or your grandmother don't want you staying in the basement no more. Now you're sleeping on a friend's space. I give them a hard But those days they really hard and they don't want to understand, I give them those statistics so they can understand, okay, well, this is the trajectory that you're on. If you keep this on, if you keep this is the track that you're on. This is the course that you're on, and that's the fruit of your labor.
And that's so interesting. But folks, I want y'all to keep looking at this email down here, kkelly@lifebydesignCF.com. Send an email, reach out, volunteer. Let Mr. Kelly know what Saturday you are available, that we're donating back to our young folks, that we're able to do this and continue to help out and depopulate the prison, depopulate those institutional homes, depopulate that ADD and all of that stuff. We have to remove our young men from that type of category and from that type of living, because guess what? The more we put in and the more we can have some lifestyle changes for these young men, the better off they're going to be. I had to explain to them, I come from a unique situation where I went to private school all my life, Christian private school, where I didn't understand how it happened. But when I start going in and talking to these young men and seeing their struggles and seeing how they live and how they grow up and, their mindset of how they think, it gave me reason to be invested. I had to be invested in this because guess what? They need to have a better lifestyle because they don't want to live like that. They don't know anything else. When we step in and we start to give and give back, we start to change lives. We start to do things that are important out here in our communities. And this was this before. This what is by. I'm just encouraging everyone. Send Mr. Kelly an email. Just let him know, hey, I watched this. This is important to me. This is value to me. How can I play a part in this action? So we can have you on the list. We can have you ready as we start to grow this throughout the state, reaching 1 million. 1 million. This is not small stuff. This is not 100. This is not 10,000. 1 million. That we're going to be able to go out here as men and reach out in these communities and start to change this world, start to remove the gangs from this stuff, because the gangs ain't nothing but family. That's a different family that y'all don't understand, that we have to almost depopulate to let them know we have some other folks that's family too. But we don't have to go through the initiation and the trauma you got to go through to get in there and forward. But it's just so meaningful to me. And Mr. Kelly, we're gonna go ahead and let you have some final thoughts of something we can tell this audience that say, hey, this is why we're gonna make a change and this is why it's gonna happen.
Thank you for this moment. Yes, the final words I want to share with them. I just want I want to encourage some people. I know we said some kind of deep things. And some of the audience sometimes they say, Mr. Kelly, don't you think you're giving them some heavy information and heavy statistics, kind of scaring them? Well, no, these kids, the songs that they're singing, the lyrics, the movies that you allowing them to watch is worse than what I'm giving them. I'm giving them a chance. I'm giving them hope. A lot of people will say, speak, you got to talk down to their level. No, I want to speak up. I want to give them challenges. I want to bring them up. Because if the teacher's already, I'm not there to teach them math or teach them science. That's the teacher's job. I want to teach them about life. I want to teach them about life at a young age. Now, when we talk about kings and queens, and we think of kings from the medieval times and even in Africa, not just Europe, but also in Africa, the king's household, they kind of understood economics, right? They kind of they understood, culture, and they understood, the way of life, the way of living, and so they protect that. They protect their legacy and their inheritance and things like that. And so I believe that that's a missing link with the fathers, because the fathers provide that. So if the fathers don't provide that, let us provide that. Let's give them the economics. Let's talk to them about economics. Let's talk to them about culture. Let's talk about them, having vision, seeing past today, type of thing. And I think that we could do that. If you don't have the bandwidth to join us, Do it in your own homes with your children. Do it at homes with your nieces and nephews. I have a nephew up in Vermont, um, who was my sister's son, and I wish I could reach to him, but he's too far. He's so far. But I want to reach out to him and give him what I'm pouring to these kids. Here. I'm giving them more than I'm giving my own blood, type of thing. So I just let's do this at home as well.
And we're gonna let them know the Sonship, Fathering, and the Journey of Becoming books on Amazon. Reach out, get that book. Matter of fact, I'm encouraging folks to just get one for another young folks so they can pass that on. So you can sit down and have some conversation about that book, about how they understand it, what it means to them, why it's important, why Mr. Kelly wrote this book. And we can take some things out of there for ourselves, because I know we all have brokenness. As men growing up, we all have brokenness. It might not be as outward as we want to show, but we have brokenness that we got to deal with. And how do we deal with that? Reading, talking, walking through this journey. The Sonship, Fathering, and the Journey of Becoming can help you get through some of those issues we have. It don't have to be publicly displayed, but we need to be better men today for our younger generation and for our young thing. Let's get in the game. Let's play. And let's be important for it. Man, I can't be so ever thankful that Mr. Kelly took the opportunity to join me tonight, to just pass this on to you. I'm excited about what he's doing out there. I'm excited about his opportunity that he's sharing with it. And guess what? That he's taking the time. He can be doing anything else with his life, going traveling to Vermont. He could be in New York hanging. He can do anything he wants to. But guess what? He's taking the time that somebody's child out there, somebody's son out there that needs help. He's reaching out. So I need y'all to reach out to him, to let him know that, hey, we care. We're going to make a difference, and we're going to do it again. Folks, until next time, man, this is Creative Financing with JB. This is Mr. Kelly here. Thank you once again for watching, and we'll do it again soon. Y'all have a great evening.